This forgotten Houston bungalow made $96,820 in net profit in less than 5 months, $185,000 in, $371,000 out, $68,000 in renovation, 19 weeks of work, and a house that had been sitting neglected, unseen, and unloved on one of the most interesting streets in one of the most interesting neighborhoods in America for 12 straight years. Most buyers walked past it. 45 days on the market, dozens of showings, and not a single offer. The carpet was stained. The kitchen was a closed galley with yellow cabinets from 1978. Both bathrooms needed full gut renovations. The stucco was cracking. The windows were painted shut. From the outside, from the inside, in every room and on every surface, this house told the story of 12 years of zero care and zero investment. But underneath all of that, under the carpet, under the linoleum, under the bougainvillea that had grown across the front window and was hiding the arched doorway from the street, was a 1940s Spanish Colonial bungalow with original hardwood floors, exceptional bones, and an address in Montrose, Houston. And in 2026, that address means everything. Stay with us for the full 90 minutes. We are going to walk you through every decision, every dollar, every week of this transformation, from the moment we first drove past this property and stopped the car, to the Sunday evening when 3 buyers submitted competing offers at and above our asking price. The kitchen reveal alone is worth the full watch. But the moment we find what is hidden under the kitchen floor, that is the moment this project becomes something we will be talking about for a long time. Let us start at the beginning. Let us start with the city. Before we talk about this house, before we talk about the specific street, the specific neighborhood, the specific property that we are about to transform, we need to talk about Houston. Because understanding why this city creates the kind of opportunity we are about to show you is as important as understanding any renovation decision we made inside this bungalow. Location is not just a factor in real estate. Location is the foundation on which every other decision rests, and Houston, Texas, is in 2026, is one of the most compelling investment foundations in the United States. Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States of America. It is home to approximately 2.4 million people within the city limits and over 7 million in the greater metro area, a metro that has been growing at a rate that consistently outpaces the national average. But raw population size is not the most interesting thing about Houston. The most interesting thing about Houston is what kind of city it is becoming and who is choosing to come here. Houston is the most ethnically and culturally diverse major city in the entire United States. Over 145 languages are spoken within its borders. It has a larger percentage of foreign-born residents than Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago. It has a culinary scene that James Beard Award voters have been paying attention to for the past decade. It has a museum district that rivals any mid-sized European capital. It has a performing arts scene, a professional sports culture, and a startup ecosystem and a medical research community that each on their own would make Houston worth paying attention to. Together, they make Houston one of the most underrated major American cities of the 21st century. And that underrating is, for the moment, still creating opportunities for investors who understand what is actually happening here. The number that anchors everything else is this: Texas has no state income tax. 0. Not a low rate, not a flat rate. 0. That single policy decision has been pulling people and businesses away from California, New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts for more than a decade, and the pace of that migration is not slowing down. It is accelerating. When a professional earning $130,000 a year moves from San Francisco to Houston, their take-home pay increases by approximately $12,000 to $15,000 annually, without a single raise or promotion. When a business moves its operations from New York City to Houston, its real estate costs, labor costs, and tax burden all decrease simultaneously. These are not marginal advantages. These are fundamental economic forces that are reshaping the population distribution of the United States, and Houston is one of the primary beneficiaries. The job market in Houston reflects this. Yes, the energy sector is still here. Houston remains the energy capital of the world, and that industry is not going anywhere. But the economy has diversified in ways that have made the city dramatically more resilient than it was during the oil price crashes of previous decades. The Texas Medical Center, located in the southern part of the city, is the single largest medical complex in the entire world. It employs over 106,000 people directly, and the ecosystem of research institutions, pharmaceutical companies, biotech startups, and medical device manufacturers that has grown up around it employs tens of thousands more. Houston has become one of the leading cities in the United States for medical research, and the professionals who work in that sector, doctors, researchers, engineers, or administrators, earn well above the median income and need places to live that reflect their expectations and their tastes. The tech sector has been building quietly in Houston for the past 5 to 7 years, with major companies opening regional offices and relocating divisions that previously operated in Silicon Valley or Seattle. The Port of Houston is one of the busiest in the country and anchors a logistics and trade ecosystem that employs a vast and diversified workforce. Houston's population is young. The median age is 33, compared to a national median of 38, and that young population is entering the housing market with specific preferences about where they want to live and what kind of home they want to live in. All of this creates the fundamental dynamic that makes house flipping in Houston not just viable but genuinely compelling in 2026. A large, growing, economically diverse population with rising incomes competing for a limited supply of housing in the neighborhoods they actually want to live in. Supply has not kept pace with demand. Construction of new single-family homes in the inner city is constrained by land availability and permitting complexity. The result is sustained and growing demand for renovated existing housing stock, precisely what we are in the business of creating. The median home price in Houston in 2026 is $310,000. That number is worth sitting with for a moment because it represents something unusual in the landscape of major American cities. Houston, a city with a population of 2.4 million, a booming job market, no state income tax, and some of the best restaurants, museums, and cultural institutions in the South, has a median home price of $310,000. Los Angeles, $850,000. Miami, $520,000. Washington, D.C., $580,000. Seattle, $700,000. Austin, which is just 260 miles west on the same interstate highway, $480,000. Houston is not cheap because it is a diminished or struggling city. Houston is affordable relative to its peers because it has historically built a lot of housing and has land on which to continue building. But the inner-city neighborhoods, the walkable, characterful, historically rich neighborhoods close to the cultural and employment core, those are not unlimited, and they are appreciating accordingly. With that context established, with Houston understood as a city in genuine demographic and economic ascent, still priced below its fundamentals, let us talk about Montrose. Montrose is the neighborhood in Houston where the city's creative, cultural, and professional identity converges in the most concentrated way. It sits just southwest of downtown Houston, bordered by the Museum District to the south, Midtown to the east, and River Oaks, one of the wealthiest residential neighborhoods in the entire country, to the west. This geography is not incidental. Montrose sits between money and culture, between institutions and restaurants, between the professional establishment and the creative underground, and it absorbs characteristics from all of them. The neighborhood was originally developed primarily in the 1920s through 1940s as an upper-middle-class residential enclave. The architecture of that era, Spanish Colonial bungalows, Craftsman houses, Tudor Revival cottages, the occasional prairie-style foursquare, was built with materials and craftsmanship that modern residential construction simply cannot replicate at comparable price points. The window surrounds are detailed. The rooflines have character. The arched doorways, the terracotta tiles, the corbelled eaves, these are not decorative additions. They are structural expressions of a building tradition that has largely disappeared from American residential construction. When you buy a house in Montrose, You are not buying a commodity. You are buying a piece of physical history in a neighborhood that has survived and transformed and is now thriving in ways its original builders could not have anticipated. The neighborhood went through a long period of decline, from the 1970s through the 1990s, a pattern common to many inner-city neighborhoods across America as suburban development pulled population and investment outward. During that period, Montrose became known as a bohemian, countercultural enclave. Artists moved in because rents were low and the housing stock was interesting. Musicians, writers, activists, and restaurateurs followed. The neighborhood developed an identity as Houston's most culturally alive and unconventional address, a reputation that has proven extraordinarily durable and that is now functioning as a powerful demand driver as younger professionals who grew up in the era of walkability, independent restaurants, and urban culture seek out exactly the kind of neighborhood Montrose has always been. The Menil Collection is the cultural anchor of Montrose, and it deserves its own paragraph. Founded by John and Dominique de Menil and opened to the public in 1987, the Menil is one of the most significant private art collections in the world. Surrealism, antiquities, Byzantine art, African and Oceanic art, and an extraordinary collection of 20th century American and European art housed across a campus of low-slung gray buildings, surrounded by oak trees and open lawn. It is free to enter every day it is open. It draws visitors from across the country and around the world, and it sits at the heart of Montrose in a way that shapes the entire character of the surrounding blocks. Neighbors walk through it on Saturday mornings. Buyers who tour open houses in Montrose factor proximity to the Menil into their decision. The museum is, in the most literal sense, a neighborhood amenity, and one that cannot be replicated, relocated, or built from scratch. Museum Row runs adjacent to Montrose along the southern edge of the neighborhood. 19 museums within approximately a mile and a half, including the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, the Contemporary Arts Museum Houston, the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and the Children's Museum of Houston. This concentration of cultural institutions within walking distance of residential streets is rare in any American city, and in Houston, it is almost entirely unique to this corner of the map. The restaurant and retail scene on Westheimer Road, the main commercial artery running through Montrose, has been the subject of national food media coverage for the past several years. James Beard award-nominated chefs have opened restaurants here. Independent coffee shops and wine bars have proliferated. Vintage furniture stores, independent bookshops, specialty grocery stores, and boutique fitness studios line the commercial blocks between the residential streets. When this is not a neighborhood that is trying to become something, it already is something. And the people who choose to live here are choosing it precisely because of what it already is. Walkability in Houston is a rare commodity. The city was built around the automobile in ways that most other major American cities were not, and the result is that the vast majority of Houston's residential neighborhoods have walkability scores below 40 out of 100. Montrose has a walkability score of 84. That number represents an extraordinary advantage in the Houston market. It means residents can walk to restaurants, to coffee shops, to the museum, to the park, to the grocery store, to the bar, to work in some cases, and that ability to live without complete automobile dependence is precisely what the demographic of buyer moving into Montrose in 2026 is seeking. They are trading square footage for walkability. They are trading a 3-car garage in the suburbs for the ability to walk to dinner, and they are paying a premium for the privilege. Lamar High School, on the northern edge of Montrose, is consistently ranked in the top 10% of all high schools in the state of Texas. In a real estate market where school district quality can add or subtract $50,000 from a comparable property's value, this matters enormously for the family buyer segment, the 35 to 45-year-old couple with 1 or 2 children who wants the cultural energy of Montrose, combined with the practical assurance of excellent public education. Now let us bring the focus to the specific street and the specific block where this property sits, because within Montrose, as within any neighborhood, micro-location matters. Not all blocks in Montrose are equal, and understanding which blocks are carrying the most value momentum is essential for underwriting a flip correctly. The subject property sits on a residential block within the inner core of Montrose, the older section where the original 1940s bungalows predominate. The tree canopy on this block is mature. The live oaks lining the sidewalk are 60 to 80 years old, their branches meeting overhead and creating the kind of dappled street-level shade that in Houston's climate is not just aesthetic, but genuinely livable. On this specific block, you can see the entire market story of Montrose playing out in physical form. 3 renovated bungalows, updated within the past 2 years by different owners and investors, sit alongside 4 unrenovated properties that still carry the visual signature of the 1990s. The contrast between them is striking. The renovated properties have fresh paint, new landscaping, operable windows, and the quiet confidence of a building that has been attended to. The unrenovated ones look like they are waiting. And in a market where renovated properties on this block are selling above $350,000, the unrenovated ones are priced at the $180,000 to $200,000 level. The gap between those two numbers, in the same neighborhood, on the same block, for the same architectural footprint, is the business model. In the 90 days immediately before we purchased this property, 3 comparable renovated bungalows sold within 6 blocks of the subject property. $340,000 for a 1,300-square-foot Craftsman on a cross-street 2 blocks north. $358,000 for a 1,400-square-foot Spanish Colonial on a parallel street 1 block east. $372,000 for a 1,500-square-foot bungalow with a larger lot 4 blocks west. All 3 sold within 25 days of listing. All 3 received multiple offers. All 3 were purchased by buyers relocating from higher-cost cities, San Francisco, New York, Boston, who recognized immediately what they were getting and moved quickly before someone else did. The market data for Montrose in the first quarter of 2026 tells a clear and consistent story. The median price per square foot for a renovated bungalow in this neighborhood is $218. The median price per square foot for a distressed, unrenovated bungalow in this same neighborhood, same streets, same architecture, same lot sizes, is $127. That gap of $91 per square foot is where house flipping in Montrose becomes a genuine business proposition. On a 1,450 square foot house, that gap represents $132,000 in potential value creation. The question is how much of that gap you can capture after renovation costs, carrying costs, and transaction costs are accounted for. We will show you exactly how the math worked on this property. And it worked better than we projected. Year-over-year appreciation in Montrose is running at 9.2% for renovated properties, compared to 5.8% for Greater Houston as a whole. Montrose is outperforming the broader market, which is itself outperforming the national average. Active inventory in Montrose under $400,000, fully renovated move-in-ready properties, stands at 11 listings as of the first quarter of 2026. 11. In a neighborhood that draws buyers from across the country. The supply and demand imbalance here is not subtle, and it is not new. It has been building for several years, and the fundamental forces driving it, migration into Texas, preference for walkable urban neighborhoods, limited supply of original architectural housing stock, are not reversing. With all of that as the backdrop, with Houston and Montrose fully established in your mind as the market context for everything that follows, let us tell you how we got this specific property for $185,000 when everything renovated around it was selling for $340,000 and above. The story of this acquisition starts not with us, but with the man who owned this property for 12 years and never came back. He purchased the bungalow in 2011, a reasonable time to buy in Montrose, when the neighborhood's transformation was underway, but not yet fully priced in. His intention, or at least his stated intention at the time of purchase, was to renovate it and either sell it or operate it as a premium rental. That intention never materialized. Instead, he placed a tenant, a single renter who paid below market rent and lived there for 4 years without any significant maintenance being performed. And then another tenant, and then another. Across 12 years of continuous tenancy, the property received 0 renovation investment. The electrical panel was updated in 2015, which we will learn later is a significant positive discovery. Everything else, the kitchen, the bathrooms, the flooring, the exterior stucco, the windows, the landscaping, absorbed 12 years of use and Houston's notoriously humid climate with no offsetting care. When the last tenant vacated in late 2024, the owner was faced with a property that had not been renovated in over 40 years in some sections, that needed full kitchen and bathroom replacement, that had structural cosmetic issues throughout, and that was competing for buyers in a market where the renovated comps were setting prices at $350,000 and above. He listed at $199,000. It was a reasonable distressed asking price, slightly above the average for comparable unrenovated properties in the area, priced with some optimism about a buyer who might see the potential. What happened next is a pattern we see repeatedly in distressed property markets. The listing sat. Day 1, Day 10, Day 20. Showings occurred. The MLS listing shows 42 showing confirmations in the first 45 days, but no offers materialized. Retail buyers, who represent the majority of showing traffic in any residential market, walked in, saw the condition, and mentally moved on. They were not in the business of visualizing what a space could become, and they were shopping for a home they could move into, and this was not that. Investors who looked at it made a common and costly error. They overestimated the renovation costs. Multiple investors quoted renovation scopes of $110,000 to $130,000, figures that made the deal's math too tight to justify at the $199 asking price, and that made the deal non-existent at any negotiated price below $180. Those investors were not working with the local Montrose contractor relationships that we had built over multiple projects. They were not accounting for the possibility of original hardwood floors under the carpet, a discovery that would ultimately save $8,200 from the renovation budget. They were pricing the renovation as if every surface needed replacement, without the nuanced understanding of what could be preserved, what could be restored, and what had to go. After 45 days and 0 offers, the owner's motivation shifted from optimistic to practical. He was carrying a vacant property taxes in Harris County, homeowner's insurance on a vacant structure, and the carrying cost of the mortgage on an asset generating 0 income. He wanted resolution. Our offer arrived at the right moment. We offered $185,000, a $14,000 reduction from the $199 asking price. The offer was cash, no financing contingency, no inspection contingency beyond an informational inspection, and a 22-day close, fast enough to resolve his carrying cost situation within a month. We provided a detailed inspection report alongside our offer, documenting the renovation scope that justified our price point. The owner accepted within 48 hours. We closed in 21 days. Was $185,000 an extraordinary steal? It was a fair price for the condition of the property. Comparable distressed sales in Montrose, unrenovated bungalows of similar size in similar condition, were transacting in a range of $172,000 to $195,000. We were squarely in the middle of that range. The advantage we had was not in the purchase price relative to the distressed market. The advantage was in our ability to close the distance between the distressed market and the renovated market more efficiently and at lower cost than the other investors who had looked at this property. The spread between distressed and renovated in Montrose, $160,000 to $190,000 on a property this size, is large enough that even at a fair distressed purchase price, the economics work compellingly. The buyers who passed on this property, whether retail or investor, made the same fundamental mistake. They looked at the surface and could not see through it. 12 years of neglect had accumulated into an intimidating presentation. But the street was right. The bones were right. The neighborhood trajectory was right. And the hardwood floors under the carpet, which we suspected based on the construction era and confirmed on our inspection walkthrough in 30 seconds by lifting a carpet corner in the bedroom closet, meant that the renovation budget that every other investor was overestimating was, for us, $68,000 rather than $120,000. That difference in renovation cost estimation is the entire margin of this deal. Let us walk through this property in the condition we found it on the day we took possession, because understanding what we started with is the only way to fully appreciate what this house became. You approach from the street. This approach, this first visual impression from the sidewalk, is where the story of this property begins to reveal itself, both its problems and its potential. The architecture announces itself immediately, even through the neglect. The arched front doorway is a defining characteristic of Spanish colonial design, and on this house it is large, well-proportioned, and framed by terracotta tile work that echoes the terracotta of the roof above. This arch has been here since 1948. It has outlasted every generation of owners and tenants who have passed through it, and it will outlast us. It is the kind of architectural feature that developers today try to recreate in new construction at enormous cost and with mixed results. The real thing on a house of this age, with this level of original craftsmanship, is irreplaceable. But the arch, on the day we take possession, is largely hidden. An overgrown bougainvillea, a climbing plant that in Houston's climate grows with extraordinary vigor if left unmanaged, has spread across the entire front of the house and is obscuring the upper half of the arch and the window to its left. Two neighbors later tell us that they had forgotten there was an arch there. The plant had covered it so completely for so long that the house had lost its defining feature from the street. Beyond the bougainvillea, the stucco exterior is cracking along the south-facing wall. These are not deep structural cracks. Our inspector confirms they are cosmetic surface fractures caused by thermal expansion and contraction over many years without the maintenance coatings that keep stucco weatherproof. But they are significant in appearance and will require proper repair before any repaint can occur. One terracotta roof tile on the front-facing section of the roof is broken and missing, leaving a gap in the pattern and exposing the underlayment to the elements. The front porch railing, the wrought iron railing that runs along the edge of the raised porch, is rusted through at 3 of its 4 mounting points. It moves when you apply lateral pressure. It is not safe, and it is visually the most immediately obvious sign of deferred maintenance on the entire exterior. Every window on the front of the house has been painted shut. This is not unusual in a property of this age. Successive rounds of exterior painting, performed without proper preparation, accumulate paint on the window frames until the windows cannot open. The frames themselves are original 1940s wood, solid and structurally sound, but they function at this moment only as fixed windows, sealed against the Houston air. In a city where outdoor temperatures are comfortable for at least 9 months of the year, and where the ability to open windows and create cross-ventilation is part of the daily rhythm of life, this matters. And for buyers viewing the property, windows that cannot open are a silent but powerful signal. This house has not been maintained. The driveway is cracked in multiple places, with weeds growing through every crack. The grass in the front yard, what remains of it, is dead, having succumbed at some point to lack of watering and probably to the shading effect of the overgrown bougainvillea. The landscaping overall communicates a simple message. No one cares about this property. That message is the first thing every potential buyer receives before they step through the front door. But here is what you see, if you know how to look. You see the arch. Even through the bougainvillea, you can see the profile of it, the curve, the terracotta tile surround. You see the roofline, the low pitch, the overhanging eaves, the terracotta tiles, the proportions that are simply not built anymore. You see the mature live oak in the front yard, not visible in most listing photos because it is too large for the frame, but present, and providing a canopy of shade over the front of the house that has taken 60 or 70 years to grow. And you see the street, the tree-lined, quiet residential street in inner Montrose, 2 minutes walk from the Manil Collection, 8 minutes walk from the restaurants on Westheimer. And you understand that the location underneath all of this neglect is exceptional. We go inside. The front door opens into the living room, and the first thing you feel is the carpet. Beige, stained in 3 places that are visible immediately from the doorway, stretched and buckled near the baseboard along the east wall, where years of humidity expansion and contraction have worked the carpet loose from its tacking strips. The popcorn ceiling above is intact, but yellowed. A ceiling fan from approximately 1998 hangs at the center of the room, a slightly off plumb. One of its blades is bent enough to be noticeable when the fan runs. The walls are painted in a color that was probably beige when it was applied and has shifted toward an indeterminate grayish over the years, marked in several places with scuff marks and a section near the doorway where a previous tenant appears to have tried to wash a stain and succeeded mainly in spreading it. There are two large windows on the east-facing wall of the living room. Both are painted shut, but you can see, standing in the room and looking at them, that on a morning when they were operational, this room received excellent natural light. The windows are tall for a bungalow of this size, with original divided light glass, and the view through them is of the live oak in the front yard. In a renovated state with operational windows and refinished floors, this will be one of the most appealing rooms in the house. Standing in it now, it takes some imagination to see that, but not much if you have done this before. The most important thing about the living room is what is under the carpet. In every bungalow we walk through, there is a specific routine. Go to the master bedroom closet, get down on your knee, pull back the carpet at the corner, and look at the subfloor. In some houses you find plywood, a sign that at some point the original hardwood was damaged beyond repair and replaced with a cheaper subfloor and carpet. In some houses you find a second layer of flooring underneath the carpet, vinyl sheeting, or a second layer of carpet from a previous renovation. And in some houses you find the original hardwood, solid, unfinished, the grain of 80-year-old wood that has been sealed away from the light and the traffic and the damage of everything above it. In this house, it is hardwood, oak, original to the house, running throughout every room in a width and grain quality that reflects the 1940s construction standards when old-growth timber was still widely available and when residential flooring was built to last for a century. It is dusty. It has some surface scratches from decades of use visible at the edges near the walls where the carpet tacking did not quite reach. But it is solid, continuous, and fully refinishable. This discovery, confirmed in 30 seconds, removes $8,200 from the renovation budget and replaces it with $4,800 of floor refinishing work. It also means the finished floor will have the depth and character of 80-year-old hardwood, something that no new flooring product at any price point can reproduce. We continue through the living room into the kitchen, and this is where the house presents its biggest challenge and simultaneously its most significant opportunity. The kitchen is a closed galley layout. A wall, a solid full-height plaster wall, separates the kitchen completely from the living room. The kitchen is entered through a doorway from the living room on one side and from a short hallway to the bedrooms on the other side. It is a self-contained cooking room in the style that was standard for residential construction in the 1940s, when entertaining did not happen in the kitchen, and when the separation of cooking functions from social functions was considered both practical and proper. In 2026, in Montrose, this layout is a deal breaker. The buyers who are moving into this neighborhood, young professionals, creative couples, families with children, remote workers who spend significant time at home, live in open-concept spaces. They cook while talking to their guests. They watch their children from the kitchen island. They want the visual and physical connection between kitchen and living room that the 1940s floor plan intentionally denied. The wall between these two rooms is not a structural argument. It is a lifestyle argument. And in this market, at this price point, that lifestyle argument determines value more than almost any other single factor. The wall has to come down, full stop. With the wall as the primary intervention established, let us look at everything else in the kitchen. The cabinets date from a renovation conducted in 1978, a year when residential kitchen design was characterized by a specific set of choices that have aged uniformly badly. Wood-framed cabinet boxes, painted over 3 separate times since installation. The final color, a yellow beige that has deepened over the intervening decades into something that reads more as mustard. The cabinet doors are flat panel wood with routed edges, not terrible as a design, but irretrievably compromised by the accumulated paint and the water damage evident at the base of several lower cabinet doors. These are not cabinets that paint and hardware can save. They are cabinets that need to go. The countertops are laminate, a laminate that was once white and is now an unclassifiable off-white with water damage at every seam, curling at the corners, and a section near the sink where years of water exposure have caused the laminate to bubble and separate from the substrate beneath. The countertops are going. The appliances narrate the full history of this kitchen. A 2003 GE refrigerator, large, outdated in design, still functional. A 1998 electric range with coil burners and a control panel that has lost several of its indicator labels. A dishwasher that has been disconnected from its plumbing. The hose is visible behind the unit, capped off, and is being used as a cabinet for storing dry goods. The dishwasher does not function as a dishwasher. It functions as an expensive cabinet. All three appliances are leaving. The floor is linoleum tile, the specific peel and stick linoleum tile format that was popular in residential renovation through the 1990s. It is cracked in 6 places, with the cracks running along the seams between tiles. 2 tiles near the refrigerator have lifted entirely at one corner and create a trip hazard. The floor is leaving. There is a window above the sink. It has been painted shut like every other window in this house. It faces east, morning light, and if it were operational, it would provide exactly the kind of natural light that a kitchen needs, and that is almost impossible to compensate for artificially. Getting this window operational is a priority. When it opens, this kitchen will feel like a different space. We walk through the kitchen hallway into the master bedroom, and then continue to the master bathroom. The master bathroom is, in many ways, the most interesting room in the house. The original 1940s pink and black tile is still present. The entire bathroom clad in the small pink ceramic tiles on the walls and black accent tiles at the border that were a signature aesthetic of residential bathroom design in the late 1940s and early 1950s. In another era, in another renovation context, this tile might be worth preserving. There is a design sensibility today that values original period tile and incorporates it into contemporary renovations with striking results. But in this bathroom, the tile is failing. The grout lines at the lower section of the west wall are crumbling, and 2 tiles have separated from the wall substrate entirely and are sitting loose at the base of the wall. The toilet runs continuously, a flapper valve that has failed and that is wasting water every minute of every day. The vanity cabinet base is rotted through at the floor from what appears to be a slow leak under the sink that was never addressed. The wood is soft enough to compress underfoot and dark enough to suggest that the moisture has been present for years. There is no ventilation fan in this bathroom. There has never been a ventilation fan in this bathroom. Or 80 years of showering without ventilation in Houston's humid climate have done exactly what you would expect to the paint on the ceiling and the upper sections of the walls. This bathroom requires a complete gut renovation. There is no path to a bathroom that Montrose buyers will pay for that runs through cosmetic work on these surfaces. Everything comes out, down to the studs and the concrete subfloor, and everything goes back in new. The second bathroom was updated in the 1990s, which in practice means it is not the original tile, but what replaced the original tile is now itself 30 years old and showing every one of those years. A hollow core interior door, the kind that sounds like cardboard when you knock on it and that communicates immediately to any buyer that this renovation was done to a budget, is the first thing you encounter. A builder-grade vanity with a laminate countertop, a single basin, and a faucet that has mineral deposits caked around the base. A shower where the white grout that once defined clean lines between the tiles has turned progressively darker over decades of use and cleaning until it is now a uniform brown throughout. A frosted glass window in the shower area with a diagonal crack running from one corner to the other, held together only by the lead, came surrounding it. This bathroom also requires a full gut renovation, not because it would be impossible to patch it cosmetically, but because the cosmetic patches necessary would be immediately visible as patches in a market where buyers have clear expectations about what a renovated property delivers. We continue through the second bedroom, 11 by 10 feet, single window facing the rear yard, ceiling with a water stain the size of a large dinner plate from an old roof leak that was at some point patched but never cosmetically addressed, into the third bedroom, which at 9 by 10 feet is being used as a storage room. The previous tenant left behind a broken treadmill, 4 boxes of what appear to be personal financial documents, and a collection of plastic storage bins containing items that cannot be identified without opening them. All of this will be removed, and the room returned to its intended function. The master bedroom is 14 by 12 feet, a good size for a bungalow of this scale, genuinely comfortable as a bedroom for a couple with space for a king bed and nightstands and still reasonable circulation. The original built-in closet cabinetry along the west wall is intact. It has been painted over so many times that the profile details of the cabinet doors are partially obscured, but the structure, the actual wood framing and the shelf system inside, is solid. A renovation that stripped and repainted these built-ins would restore them to something that functions as a period-appropriate, deeply characterful closet feature. Buyers in Montrose who are paying for history and authenticity will love these built-ins. They are going to stay. One positive discovery cuts through the otherwise uniform catalogue of deferred maintenance, the electrical system. The original 1940s wiring was replaced with a modern circuit breaker panel in 2015. Our electrician confirms on the first day of inspection that the panel is compliant with current Houston code, properly sized for the house's needs, and that the branch circuits run from it are modern copper wiring throughout. We will need to add circuits for the new kitchen lighting and the bathroom exhaust fans, and we will need to install the lighting fixtures themselves, but we will not need to rewire the house. In a structure of this age, that is a significant and meaningful cost saving. A full rewire on a house this size would add $15,000 to $20,000 to the renovation budget. That is the house on day one. Problems everywhere. Not a room that is livable in its current condition, but underneath every problem, under the carpet, under the linoleum, behind the painted shut windows, beneath the stucco cracks and the overgrown bougainvillea and the rusted porch railing, is a 1940s Spanish Colonial bungalow with exceptional bones, original hardwood floors, original architectural details, a modern electrical panel, and an address in Montrose, Houston, Texas. That is what we paid $185,000 for. Now let us talk about what $68,000 does to a house like this. Every renovation budget is a series of choices. Some of those choices are driven by the condition of the property, things that simply must be done regardless of the ROI calculation, because a property with a running toilet and rotted vanity and crumbling bathroom tile is not sellable to any buyer at any price until those issues are resolved. But the majority of renovation budget decisions in a flip project like this one are strategic choices. Decisions about where to concentrate investment to maximize the gap between what you spend and what the market values the result at. In Montrose in 2026, those strategic decisions are guided by a clear and well-documented understanding of what buyers in this neighborhood pay for. They pay for kitchens, they pay for master bathrooms, they pay for original architectural character that has been preserved and celebrated rather than destroyed or covered over. They pay for curb appeal on streets they walk, because in a neighborhood with a walkability score of 84, but the street presentation of a property is not just a listing photo consideration. It is experienced in real life, on foot, by real potential buyers who live in the neighborhood and walk past the property before they ever schedule a showing. They do not pay proportionally for bedroom count beyond a certain threshold. A 3-bedroom bungalow sells for more than a 2-bedroom, but a 4-bedroom in the same square footage as a 3-bedroom does not command a significant premium because the rooms end up too small. They do not pay for above-grade appliance packages in properties under $400,000. A $10,000 refrigerator in a $365,000 house adds zero to the sale price. They do not pay for custom cabinetry at luxury price points when clean, well-installed semi-custom cabinets produce an indistinguishable visual result for 60% less money. With those principles as the framework, here is the complete budget breakdown for this renovation, with the reasoning behind every major allocation. Kitchen, $22,000. This is the largest single allocation in the budget and the one with the clearest ROI logic. The kitchen investment here covers structural wall removal and the installation of the engineered beam required to span the opening, approximately $4,000 for the structural work alone. New shaker-style white cabinet boxes and doors are installed to ceiling height. Cabinets that run all the way to the ceiling eliminate the dead space above conventional upper cabinets that accumulates dust and visually lowers the room, and they add a sense of vertical scale to a room with 8-foot ceilings that is difficult to achieve any other way. Calcutta gold quartz countertops, a natural veined quartz that has the visual quality of marble without marble's maintenance requirements, and classic 3x6-inch subway tile backsplash in white with dark sanded grout, a choice that is deliberately connected to the Spanish Colonial palette of the house rather than the default gray grout that appears in generic flips. A complete Samsung appliance package: refrigerator, range with 5 burners, dishwasher, over-range microwave, in stainless steel finish, totaling $4,800. New luxury vinyl plank flooring in the kitchen zone, where the hardwood does not run. New recessed lighting on a separate dimmer circuit plus a statement pendant position over the island, and the window above the sink, fully opened, reglazed, new hardware, operable for the first time in years. The $22,000 kitchen investment in this specific market generates an estimated value increase of $45,000 to $55,000. It is the highest leverage allocation in the budget. Master bathroom, $11,500. Full gut renovation to the studs. 24 by 24-inch large format porcelain tile in a bright white on both the floor and the walls. The large format tile makes a small bathroom feel significantly larger by reducing the number of grout lines the eye encounters, and the bright white reflects light in a way that smaller tiles simply do not. A frameless glass walk-in shower replacing the original bathtub, the specific renovation choice that Montrose buyers in this price range most consistently prioritize when asked what they want in a master bathroom. A floating walnut wood vanity with a white ceramic undermount sink. The walnut wood tone against all the white tile creates a warmth and visual interest that is immediately noticeable and that distinguishes this bathroom from the generic renovations that fill every other flip in Houston. Matte black fixtures throughout: faucet, showerhead, hand shower, towel bars, toilet paper holder, door hardware. This fixture finish choice unifies the bathroom visually and connects to the darker tones present in other parts of the house. And a ventilation fan, the first functional ventilation this bathroom has ever had in its 80-year existence. Second bathroom, $7,500. Full gut renovation here as well. Penny tile floor in white. Small circular tiles set in a grid pattern, a classic format that has been in continuous use in American residential bathrooms since the early 20th century, and that connects directly to the vintage character of the house. Subway tile shower surround, same tile as the kitchen backsplash, creating a visual thread that runs through both spaces. A pedestal sink rather than a vanity, the right choice for a smaller secondary bathroom, where a vanity with cabinet would feel crowded, and where the clean line of a pedestal sink maintains the vintage character of the space. Chrome fixtures rather than matte black. The secondary bath and the master bath should not be identical, and the chrome finish gives the second bathroom its own personality, while remaining connected to the overall palette. The hollow core door is replaced with a solid wood door, painted in the trim color that runs throughout the house. Hardwood floor refinishing, $4,800. This is the single most impactful line item in the budget relative to its cost. 1,100 square feet of original 1940s oak hardwood, sanded to bare wood with a drum sander, then finished with 2 coats of oil-modified polyurethane in a natural tone that preserves and showcases the original grain color. And the alternative, removing the hardwood and installing new engineered hardwood, would cost $13,000 and would produce a floor that any discerning buyer could identify immediately as new. The refinished original floor has depth, grain variation, and character that comes only from wood that is 80 years old and that cannot be manufactured. Every buyer who walked through this house during the showing period mentioned the floors. Several of them asked specifically whether they were original. They were, and they cost $4,800 to restore. Exterior and curb appeal, $8,200. This allocation covers the full cost of removing and disposing of the overgrown bougainvillea. A half day of labor. Stucco repair along the south wall, patching the cracks with matching stucco compound, allowing proper cure time, and applying a bonding primer before the exterior repaint. The full exterior repaint, Sherwin-Williams Navajo white on the main stucco field. A warm off-white that catches Houston's afternoon light with a quality that is immediately readable from across the street. With the window surrounds painted in a terracotta tone, precisely matched to the color of the original roof tiles. This exterior color scheme reconnects the house to its Spanish colonial identity in a way that the previous generic exterior paint completely failed to achieve. A new drought-tolerant native Texas plantings along the front border, plants that require minimal water and maintenance, a practical choice in Houston's climate, and an increasingly important consideration for buyers who want curb appeal without irrigation complexity. Fresh sod on the narrow front walk strip. 2 large potted agave plants flanking the arched doorway. A classic pairing with Spanish colonial architecture that announces the style of the house even before you reach the front door. And the new wrought iron porch railing, custom fabricated powder-coated matte black, anchored through new galvanized concrete footings on the porch deck. Period appropriate in design and absolutely solid structurally. And driveway ceiling, crack fill and a full seal coat that closes every crack, eliminates every weed, and produces a uniform dark surface that frames the landscaping and the house above it. Interior paint, $4,500. 3 colors, applied throughout the entire interior. Benjamin Moore white dove on all walls. A warm white that is not stark or cold, but that reads as clean and intentional, and that makes every room feel larger and better lit than a deeper color would. Pure white on all ceilings. This color differential between walls and ceiling is subtle but significant, creating a visual separation that makes the ceilings feel higher and the rooms feel more finished. Chantilly lace on all trim, doors, and window casings, a slightly cooler, crisper white that creates a clean contrast line between wall and trim that is the signature of a professional, high-quality interior paint job. The 3-color paint scheme is standard in premium residential renovation and is worth every penny of the $4,500 it costs. Window restoration, $2,800. We do not replace the original windows. That decision alone saves approximately $20,000 compared to full window replacement, and it preserves the historical character of the house that is central to its value in this market. Instead, every window in the house is carefully worked open by a window restoration specialist. The paint buildup on the frames is ground back, the glazing compound where it has failed is replaced, hence a new hardware, latches, lifts, and weather stripping, is installed throughout. The result? Original 1940s windows that operate smoothly, seal properly against the weather, and look exactly as they should in a Spanish colonial bungalow of this era. The cracked frosted glass in the second bathroom is replaced with new frosted tempered safety glass. All windows work. None look new. Roof repair, $3,200. A partial repair on the section above the second bedroom, the section responsible for the historic water intrusion that produced the ceiling stain. A roofing contractor inspects the full roof, confirms that the remainder of the terracotta tile installation is in serviceable condition and does not require replacement, and repairs the specific section with correctly matched materials. The ceiling stain in the bedroom is removed, the drywall is primed with stain-blocking primer, and the room is repainted. The roof repair is conservative. We spend what is necessary to resolve the actual problem without over-investing in a full replacement that the roof's overall condition does not require. Permits and contingency, $3,500. The City of Houston requires a permit for the structural wall removal between the kitchen and living room, a structural modification that involves installing a new engineered beam to carry the load previously carried by the wall. The permit is obtained, the work is inspected and signed off. The remainder of the contingency allocation is available for unexpected discoveries, the kind of thing that emerges once walls are opened and floors are lifted. In the event, a portion of the contingency funds the work associated with the salvaged terracotta tile we discover under the kitchen linoleum, cutting and setting the pieces into the master bathroom shower niche. The total project spend lands at $67,850, $150 under the $68,000 budget. In a project of this scale, finishing under budget is not an accident. It is the result of accurate pre-purchase estimation, strong contractor relationships built over multiple projects, and a renovation scope that was defined precisely before the first day of demo and adhered to throughout. Total renovation budget, $68,000. Every dollar allocated to a specific purpose. Every allocation chosen because it addresses something that Montrose buyers pay for, not a dollar spent on things they do not. Week 1 begins on a Monday morning with a full demolition crew, and before anything else happens, before the first tool touches the kitchen wall, before the first bathroom tile is struck, the carpet comes up. This is always the moment of highest emotional stakes in a bungalow renovation. You pull back the first corner of carpet at the bedroom closet threshold, and what you find underneath tells you a great deal about the true character of the house you have purchased. In some properties, you find plywood subfloor, a sign that the original hardwood was at some point damaged, rotted, or deemed unsalvageable, and replaced with a cheaper structural layer topped with carpet. In some properties, you find a second layer of flooring entirely, a layer of vinyl sheeting from the 1980s laid directly over the original floor, then carpeted over that. In those cases, you are looking at a floor removal project that costs money and time before the actual new flooring work can even begin. In this house, you find hardwood, original 1940s oak, running in clean parallel lines the full length of every room, the grain visible under the carpet backing dust that lifts when the first section is peeled back. The crew foreman pulls back a 3-foot section and crouches down to look at it. He runs his hand along the grain. He looks up. "These are solid," he says. "Original. You're not replacing these." He is correct. We are not replacing them. The $13,000 new hardwood flooring contingency comes off the budget in that first hour of demolition, and $4,800 of refinishing work goes on in its place. The house just became more profitable before a single wall was touched. The kitchen wall comes down the same day. Our structural engineer has been on site the previous week, confirmed the beam requirement, and specified the exact engineered lumber beam that must go in to carry the load previously distributed through the wall. The demo crew removes the drywall from both faces of the wall first, exposing the stud framing inside. The studs come out. The temporary support structure holds the ceiling load while the permanent beam is cut, lifted into position, and set into the pocket framing on each end. 6 hours from the first drywall, cut to the last piece of temporary support removed. And when that work is complete, the living room and the kitchen are one connected space for the first time since 1948. The sight lines change completely and immediately. Standing at the far end of the living room, you can see through to the kitchen wall at the back of the house. The east-facing kitchen window, still painted shut, still sealed, but now visible from the living room, is drawing light through the entire depth of the floor plan in a way the closed-off galley layout never permitted. The house feels larger. It feels different. It feels like what it is going to become. Both bathrooms are gutted to the studs within the first week. All tile removed. The pink and black 1940s tile in the master bath, the gray 90s tile in the second, all of it down to the concrete subfloor and the timber stud framing. All plumbing fixtures disconnected and removed. The rotted vanity base in the master bath, soft and dark with years of moisture, is cut away from the floor and disposed of. But the hollow core door in the second bathroom goes into the dumpster on day 2. The ceiling drywall in both bathrooms comes down to allow access for the exhaust fan rough-in that will run through the ceiling joists and vent through the exterior wall. On day 3, the overgrown bougainvillea comes down from the front of the house. This is a landscaping task, not a renovation task, but it is psychologically one of the most important things that happens in week 1. Because the moment the bougainvillea comes down, the arch is visible from the street for the first time in years. The terracotta tile surround, the curve of the masonry, the proportions of the opening that anchors the entire facade. As 2 neighbors stop on the sidewalk within an hour of the removal to look at it. One of them says she had completely forgotten the arch was there. It had been hidden so long it had ceased to exist in the neighborhood's visual consciousness. Now it is back. At the end of week 1, the property looks, objectively, worse than it did the day we purchased it. Both bathrooms are exposed concrete slabs and bare stud walls. The kitchen is a framed opening where a wall used to be, with the rough plumbing and electrical of both adjacent rooms visible through the gap. The carpet is gone throughout the house, and the hardwood is exposed but unfinished, dusty, scratched at the edges, needing sanding badly. The exterior landscaping has been stripped of the bougainvillea and the bed plants removed in preparation for the new plantings. The driveway cracks are exposed. The house looks like what it is at this stage, a construction site. This is normal. This is correct. A renovation that does not go through this stage of apparent deterioration before improvement is a renovation that is not being done thoroughly. The visible chaos of week 1 demo is the necessary precondition for everything that follows. Week 2 is structural and rough-in work, the week of invisible progress. The work being done is entirely inside walls and ceilings, and it will be completely hidden when the project is finished, but it is the work that makes everything else possible. Kitchen plumbing is relocated to accommodate the new layout. The sink position moves 18 inches from its original galley wall location to the new island-facing position, which requires extending the drain line and the supply lines through the subfloor. In the master bathroom, the shower drain is relocated to the center of the new walk-in shower footprint. The original tub drain was positioned for a tub, and the new frameless walk-in shower has a different geometry. A new electrical rough-in runs throughout the kitchen ceiling for the recessed lighting grid. 8 cans on a dimmer circuit, plus a pendant position over the island. The bathroom exhaust fans are rough-framed into the ceiling joists of both bathrooms, and the ductwork is run to the exterior wall penetrations. And then, on day 9 of the project, something happens that is not in the renovation plan, and that will end up being the single most talked about detail in the entire finished house. When the crew removes the linoleum tile from the kitchen floor, the peel-and-stick 1990s tile that was always scheduled for replacement with luxury vinyl plank, they find something underneath it. Original 1940s terracotta floor tile. Handmade terracotta, the kind produced in Mexico and the American Southwest for use in Spanish Colonial construction, with the variation in color and surface texture that machine-made tile cannot replicate. It was laid in this kitchen in 1948 and has been covered by linoleum since at some point in the 1990s, completely invisible, completely preserved. There is not enough of it intact to use as the primary kitchen floor. Several tiles are broken, many more are cracked, and the adhesive from the linoleum above has damaged the surface in large sections. But the best pieces, the ones that are whole, with their original color and surface still present, are carefully removed, cleaned, and set aside. Our tile installer, who has been doing specialty tile work in Houston for over 20 years, he looks at them and immediately knows what to do with them. The shower niche in the master bathroom, the recessed shelf where you reach for the shampoo, positioned at eye level in the center of the back wall of the new frameless walk-in shower, is the right place for these tiles. Cut into a mosaic format, set in a running pattern within the niche, they will be the first thing anyone sees when they look at the master bathroom. Original material from this house, from 1948, preserved under the floor for 30 years, and now placed in the most visible position in the most important room of the renovation. The material cost is zero. The installation cost is included in the tile labor that was already budgeted. The effect is extraordinary. Week 3 is the kitchen installation, and this is the week the house stops deteriorating and starts transforming. The Shaker white cabinet boxes arrive on Monday, and installation begins immediately. The crew works floor to ceiling, base cabinets first, then upper cabinets installed all the way to the ceiling without any gap. This ceiling height installation is a deliberate choice, and one that takes additional time and care to execute well, because the ceiling in a house this age is not perfectly level, and the top course of cabinets has to be individually shimmed and scribed to maintain clean horizontal lines despite the ceiling's variation. Done correctly, the result is a kitchen where the eye travels from the countertop to the ceiling without interruption, a visual effect that makes the room feel taller than it is, and that reads as a quality signal to buyers who have seen the difference between this and the standard upper cabinet with gap installation. The Calacatta Gold quartz countertops are templated on day 14, a precise digital template taken from the installed cabinets to ensure the countertop slabs are cut to exactly the right dimensions. They arrive on day 16 and are installed in a single morning. The veining in the quartz runs consistently across all sections. The fabricator has matched the direction of the pattern across all pieces so that the countertop reads as a unified surface rather than a collection of separate slabs. The seams are invisible. The surface is cool and smooth and catches the light from the east-facing window in a way that will be extraordinary once that window is operational. The subway tile backsplash follows. 3 by 6 inch white ceramic tile in a running bond pattern with dark charcoal brown sanded grout. The grout color choice is where the design judgment matters most in this backsplash. A white or light gray grout would produce a cleaner, more contemporary look, perfectly acceptable, frequently chosen. But the dark grout produces something more connected to the character of the house. The Spanish Colonial palette is built on contrasts, white plaster and dark terracotta, light walls and dark ironwork, pale stone and deep shadow. The dark grout on white subway tile carries that contrast language into a modern kitchen context without forcing it or making it literal. It is a subtle choice that buyers who understand design notice immediately, and that buyers who do not understand design simply feel as right. The Samsung appliance package is delivered and installed in a single morning. Refrigerator, range, dishwasher, over-range microwave, all in brushed stainless steel. The installation crew connects the gas line to the range, verifying the connection and pressure testing before sign-off. The dishwasher is plumbed in where the previously disconnected unit sat. The range slides into its position between the base cabinets and the microwave is mounted above it, unvented through the backsplash tile to the exterior. And then the kitchen window. The window restoration specialist works on it for 40 minutes, carefully grinding back the paint from the frame, working the sashes free, lubricating the channels, setting new weather stripping, and installing new hardware. When the window opens for what is probably the first time in over a decade, the kitchen fills with morning air. Light that has been blocked by painted glass and sealed wood comes through the opening, crosses the quartz countertop, and reaches the back wall of the kitchen. The kitchen that was a dark, closed galley is now a bright, open, connected room. Standing in the living room, looking through the open concept into the kitchen, with the light coming through the now operational window and the quartz countertop catching it and reflecting it upward, the house is already showing what it is going to be. We are at the midpoint of this project. Let us stop for a moment and acknowledge what the numbers look like right now, because this is the point in every renovation project where the financial reality is most uncomfortable. We have spent approximately $50,000. The house is in an intermediate state. Cabinets installed, tile work begun, bathrooms still studs and concrete. It does not look like a $185,000 house. It looks like a construction site with nice countertops. And yet the decisions made in these first 6 weeks, the wall removal, the hardwood floor discovery, the ceiling height cabinets, the terracotta tile discovery, the window restoration, have already determined the outcome of this project. Every major value-generating decision has been made. What remains is execution. The kitchen reveal, when it comes, is going to be extraordinary. Keep watching. Week 4 belongs to the bathrooms, and this is the week where the investment density per square foot is higher than any other point in the renovation. The master bathroom tile work begins on Monday and takes 5 full days to complete. Large format 24 by 24 inch tile requires a significantly different installation process than standard smaller tile. The substrate preparation must be more precise. The leveling system must be more sophisticated, and the adhesive coverage must be complete across the entire back of each tile to prevent hollow spots that will eventually crack or fail. Our tile installer does not rush this process. He spends most of the first day on substrate preparation, leveling compound where necessary, waterproofing membrane in the shower zone, anti-fracture membrane over the concrete subfloor. The first tile does not go down until Tuesday morning. The floor is set first, 24 by 24 white porcelain in a staggered grid pattern, running continuously from the bathroom entry through to the back wall of the shower zone. No threshold between the main bathroom floor and the shower floor, a continuous surface that reads as intentionally designed rather than improvised. The walls follow, the same 24 by 24 tile on 3 walls of the bathroom, full height to the ceiling, and set in a stacked vertical pattern that draws the eye upward and makes the room feel taller. The shower zone walls, the 3 walls enclosed by the future frameless glass, receive the same tile in a horizontal stack pattern, creating a subtle differentiation between the shower zone and the main bathroom, while maintaining the visual unity of the white tile throughout. The shower niche is built into the back wall of the shower, a recessed shelf framed in the stud wall, tiled on all 5 interior surfaces with the main white tile, and then the front face and the shelf surface of the niche are set with the salvaged terracotta mosaic. The tile installer cuts the terracotta pieces on a wet saw into roughly uniform small rectangles, varying slightly in size to reflect the handmade character of the original tile, and sets them in a running bond pattern within the niche. The color of the terracotta, a warm reddish-orange with slight natural variation across each piece, against the surrounding white tile is immediate and striking. It is the only warm tone in the entire bathroom. It draws the eye completely. The floating walnut vanity is installed on day 27. It is mounted directly to the wall framing at the standard vanity height, with no base cabinet touching the floor. The floating installation leaves the tile floor visible beneath the vanity, a detail that reinforces the sense of visual continuity and openness in the room. The walnut grain against the white tile on the walls behind it is the material contrast that makes this bathroom memorable. The white ceramic undermount sink drops into the vanity top with clean lines. The matte black faucet is installed above it. The matte black towel bar, toilet paper holder, and robe hook follow. Every fixture in this bathroom is matte black. The consistency is the point. A bathroom where every hardware piece matches says to a buyer that the renovation was thought about, not assembled from whatever was available. The frameless glass shower enclosure arrives and is installed by a specialist on day 28. The glass panels are a full inch thick, significantly heavier and more solid feeling than the standard frameless glass used in builder renovations. The door swings inward, minimizing the footprint when open, and closes against a magnetic seal at the fixed panel. The entire enclosure is supported by matte black hardware, the hinge, the handle, and the header bar, connecting it visually to the fixture choices throughout the room. When the installation is complete and the protective film is removed from the glass, the shower appears to float within the room. Your eye travels through it to the terracotta niche at the back wall, and then returns through the glass to the walnut vanity, and then out to the tiled floor at your feet. The room is coherent. Every element is connected to every other element. It works. The second bathroom is completed in 3 days, faster than the master bath because the format is simpler and the tile work less technically demanding. The penny tile floor goes down first, small circular white tiles in a grid layout, the traditional format that has been in continuous use in American residential construction for over a century, and that here connects the second bathroom directly to the vintage character of the house. The subway tile shower surround matches the kitchen backsplash, same 3x6 white ceramic, same dark grout, and the visual thread running from the kitchen through the house to this bathroom is now complete. The pedestal sink is set and plumbed. The chrome faucet and towel hardware are installed. The solid wood door, the replacement for the hollow core door that went into the dumpster on day 2, is hung, painted in Chantilly lace, and fitted with a chrome lever handle. The bathroom is clean, precise, and completely different in personality from the master bath, while remaining connected to the same underlying design language. Week 5 is the week the house comes fully alive. The hardwood floor sanding begins on day 29, with the carpet long gone and the construction traffic dust that has accumulated over 4 weeks of renovation work now standing between us and the finish. A drum sander starts in the master bedroom and works room by room through the house. Bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, the hallway, the living room, the dining area. 1,100 square feet of original 1940s oak taken back to bare wood. The sanding reveals grain pattern and color that have not been visible since the carpet was installed, probably in the late 1980s or early 1990s. The wood is warm, varied, deep-grained in the way that old-growth timber is, and that plantation-grown modern hardwood simply is not. An edge sander works the perimeter of each room where the drum cannot reach. A random orbital sander handles the transitions. By the end of day 30, every square foot of hardwood in the house is bare and ready for finish. The finish coats go on over days 31 and 32, 2 coats of oil-modified polyurethane in a natural tone, neither the amber of a heavy oil finish nor the flat of a water-based finish, but the warm, neutral middle ground that shows the wood as wood without distorting its color. Between coats, the floor is lightly screened with a fine abrasive to knock back any raised grain and ensure adhesion of the second coat. The floors cure for 48 hours before foot traffic is permitted. When they are ready, when the protective paper is laid over them for the remainder of the work, and you get your first clear look at the finished surface, the floor is genuinely beautiful. Not beautiful in the way that a new floor is beautiful. Uniform, perfect, slightly artificial. Beautiful in the way that only an 80-year-old floor that has been properly cared for is beautiful. With depth, with variation, with the quiet authority of something that was built to last. Interior painting follows immediately, with the floors protected. 3 paint crews working simultaneously cover the entire house in 2 days. Benjamin Moore white dove on every wall surface, pure white on every ceiling, Chantilly lace on every trim element, doors, door casings, window casings, baseboards, the built-in closet cabinetry in the master bedroom. The 3-color paint scheme requires more time and masking than a single-color job, but the result justifies every minute of the additional work. When paint is complete and the masking comes off, every room in the house has a finished, precise quality that communicates immediately to anyone who walks through it. This renovation was done correctly. The master bedroom built-in closets deserve specific mention as the paintwork reveals them. The accumulated paint of decades, perhaps 7 or 8 layers applied over the original finish, has been lightly stripped and sanded before the final coat of Chantilly lace is applied. The profile details of the cabinet doors emerge from under the paint history. The original hardware, small brass bin pull handles that were presumably installed in 1948, is removed for the painting and reinstalled afterward, polished but original. The closets are clean, white, detailed, and unmistakably from 1948. Every buyer who opens that closet will know what they are looking at. Every buyer who opens that closet will want it. Exterior work runs in parallel through week 5. The stucco repair crew patches and seals the south wall cracks over 2 days, applying a matching stucco compound in multiple thin coats, allowing proper cure time between each coat, and finishing with a bonding primer coat before the paint crew moves in. The full exterior repaint follows. Navajo white on the main field, the terracotta tone window surrounds, the pure white on the soffits, and the woodwork at the eaves. The house, he says the paint crew finishes on the afternoon of day 33, is different. Not just cleaner, different. The color scheme reconnects it to its architectural identity. The warm white and the terracotta surrounds, and the dark iron railing about to be installed below. It is a house again, not a rental. The new landscaping goes in on day 34. The drought-tolerant native Texas plantings along the front border, specifically selected species that establish quickly in Houston's climate, and that require minimal irrigation once established. Fresh sod on the walk strip from the sidewalk to the front porch. The 2 potted agave plants set on either side of the arched doorway, large specimens, already mature, won their architectural form, echoing the Spanish colonial vocabulary of the building behind them. The wrought iron porch railing is installed that same afternoon, anchored through new galvanized steel post bases set in fresh concrete footings, powder-coated matte black, period-appropriate in its profile and dimensions, absolutely solid when you put your hand on it and apply pressure. The punch list runs through days 35 and 36, the final pass that takes a renovated house and makes it a finished house. New door hardware throughout, matte black lever handles on every interior door, consistent across all rooms. $400 in total hardware cost, that reads as a $4,000 investment because of its consistency and its connection to the fixture choices in both bathrooms. New light fixtures in every room, vintage-inspired cage pendant lights in the kitchen, one above the sink, and one above the future island position. Rattan pendants in the 2 main bedrooms. A linen drum shade in the master bedroom with a warm-toned bulb. Flush-mounted brushed nickel ceiling fixtures in both bathrooms, compatible with the respective fixture finishes in each room. Driveway sealant, crack fill applied to every crack, allowed to cure, and then a full seal coat rolled across the entire driveway surface. Dark, uniform, clean. Back patio swept, pressure washed, and prepped for the staging furniture. On day 37, the project manager conducts the final walkthrough. Total spend, $67,850. $150 under the $68,000 budget. Project timeline from closing to list ready, 19 weeks. The house is ready. Let us walk through it now, from the curb to the back patio, the way a buyer walks through it on a Saturday morning showing. Not as investors or renovators, but as someone who has been searching the Houston market for months, who has toured 14 properties, who has been outbid twice and disappointed 3 times, and who is arriving at this address for the first time on a morning in early spring when the live oak in the front yard is leafed out and the light is coming from the east. You approach from the street and stop. The arch. It is the first thing you see, and it is unmistakable. The curve of the masonry, the terracotta tiles surround, the proportions that announce a building built with genuine craft and intention. The Navajo white stucco catches the morning light with a warmth that seems to radiate rather than reflect. This is what a good exterior repaint with the right color can do on a building with this geometry and this material. The terracotta window surrounds frame each window precisely, as connecting the wall surfaces to the roofline above where the original terracotta tiles run in their clean courses. The wrought iron railing on the porch is black and solid and exactly right. The 2 agave plants on either side of the doorway are architectural in their form, their spiky geometry complementing the curves of the arch above them. The native plants along the front border are low and varied and green. The live oak overhead makes the entire scene feel settled and permanent. This house has been here for 80 years, and it looks like it intends to be here for 80 more. The neighbor, walking her dog on the other side of the street, pauses and looks. The house commands attention now. It earned that attention. It was here all along, waiting. You walk up the porch steps, across the refinished porch surface, under the arch, through the front door. The first thing you feel is the light. The east-facing windows in the living room, all operational now, the first time in years, are letting in the morning. The original hardwood floors are warm in the light, the grain running toward you from the far wall in long parallel lines. The ceiling is clean white above white dove walls and chantilly lace trim. There is no popcorn. There is no ceiling fan from 1998. There is the rattan pendant you will choose for this room when you move in. And there is quiet, and there is light, and there is the smell of a house that has just been finished. And through the open concept, through the space where the kitchen wall used to be, you can see the quartz countertop catching the light from the kitchen window. From where you are standing, at the front door, you can see the entire depth of the house. You walk toward the kitchen, The Calacata gold quartz countertop is cool under your hand. The shaker cabinets run from the countertop to the ceiling without interruption, the vertical line unbroken, the room seeming taller than its 8 feet, because there is nothing horizontal to stop your eye before the ceiling. The subway tile backsplash is white with dark grout lines, running in clean horizontal rows behind the cabinets, the dark grout doing exactly what it was chosen to do, connecting this contemporary kitchen to the Spanish Colonial palette of the building it sits in. The Samsung appliances are aligned and stainless. The window above the sink is open, and through it you can see the backyard and the sky. The morning light comes through the window, crosses the quartz surface, and falls on the hardwood floor of the living room behind you. The kitchen and the living room breathe together as a single space. At the threshold between kitchen and living room, you look down. There in the floor, set in a strip along the original doorway line, the physical memory of where the wall used to be, is the terracotta tile. Original, from 1948, from this house. You reach down and touch it with your finger. The surface is slightly irregular, slightly warm, the way handmade ceramic is. You look up at the quartz countertop and the stainless appliances above it, and then back down at the terracotta tile at your feet, and you understand, without anyone explaining it, that this renovation respected what was here before it arrived. You continue to the master bedroom. The original built-in closets along the west wall are white and clean, their profile details precise, the brass bin-pull hardware small and original and polished. The hardwood floors run continuous from the doorway to the far wall. The room is quiet and proportioned well. 14 by 12 feet, with a single window looking toward the backyard that this morning is letting in the diffused light that comes through the live oak outside. Yet you stand in the middle of the room and you think about furniture placement, and it is obvious, and it feels right. You open the master bathroom door. The large format white tile meets you first. The floor, the walls, the shower surround, all in the same 24 by 24 format. The grout lines minimal and consistent, the room seeming to extend beyond its actual dimensions, because there is so little to interrupt the eye's travel. The frameless glass shower is directly ahead. Through the glass, at eye level, centered on the back wall of the shower niche, is the terracotta mosaic. You see it immediately, and you walk toward the glass and look at it. The tiles are small, varied in tone, handmade. You ask the agent showing you the house where the tile is from, and she tells you it came from under the kitchen floor, that it was original to the house, that the renovation team found it during demo and brought it here. You do not say anything. You look at the walnut vanity to your left, the matte black faucet, the matte black towel bar, the white tile behind all of it. You look back at the terracotta niche. You think, I am not leaving this house. You visit the second bedroom, the third bedroom staged as a home office, and the second bathroom with its penny tile floor and chrome fixtures and pedestal sink. You walk back through the living room and out the back door to the patio. String lights on a wire above. 2 rattan chairs and a small table. The Houston sky is large above the neighboring rooftops. You sit in one of the chairs, and you look up at the sky, and you think about what it would be like to sit here in the evenings, when the heat breaks and the air is cool and the lights are on inside the kitchen, and you could look through the back window and see the quartz countertop and the cabinet faces and the whole thing you have made your own. This is what $185,000, and a plan looks like 19 weeks later. Before this property went on the market, we brought in a Houston staging company with specific experience in Montrose and Midtown properties. The staging cost was $2,800 for a 45-day rental period, a cost that, as we are about to show you, returned a multiple of its investment in both offer speed and final price. The brief to the staging company was specific and intentional, warm modern with Spanish Colonial nods, natural materials, art forward. The result should feel like a real person lives here beautifully. Not like a real estate catalog, not like a hotel room, not like a generic flip that has been furnished with the same gray sectional and white tulip table that appears in 40% of Houston MLS listings. This house has a specific character, and the staging needed to honor and amplify that character rather than overwrite it. In the living room, the staging opens with a linen sofa in warm ivory, a tone close enough to the white dove walls that the room feels continuous and cohesive, the furniture growing from the room rather than being placed in it. A walnut coffee table with clean, low lines mirrors the walnut vanity in the master bathroom. The same material, the same tone, running as a thread through the house. An oversized art print in warm earth tones occupies the wall above the sofa. Abstract, large, confident, the kind of piece that communicates taste without shouting. A rattan pendant lamp hangs from the ceiling above the coffee table, connecting to the rattan pendants in the bedrooms and creating a material consistency across the common areas. Terracotta throw pillows on the sofa. Two of them, placed asymmetrically, carry the terracotta palette from the exterior and the bathroom niche into the living room. The room is warm and coherent, and it makes you want to sit down. The kitchen staging is intentionally minimal because the kitchen does not need help. A single marble cutting board positioned near the range. A copper kettle on the stovetop. The warm metal tone relating to the terracotta thread running through the house. A small ceramic pot with a single succulent on the windowsill above the sink in the light from the east-facing window that was sealed shut 12 weeks ago. And this is the staging equivalent of a light touch on a great painting. Enough presence to make the room feel inhabited, not enough to compete with the room itself. The master bedroom receives an upholstered linen headboard set against the wall opposite the built-in closets. A bed with neutral bedding in warm white and cream layered with a single textured throw. Nightstands with small table lamps and design books. The staging here is aspirational, but achievable. The buyer who walks into this room should feel not that the room is beyond them, but that it is exactly the room they were trying to describe when they tried to explain to their partner what they were looking for. The third bedroom is staged as a home office. A standing desk, an ergonomic chair, a small bookshelf with a trailing pothos plant at the end of the shelf. For the buyer who works remotely, and in Montrose in 2026, that is a significant percentage of the buyer pool, this room needs to answer the question of where they will work. It answers it clearly and immediately. The back patio, 2 rattan chairs, a small round side table, a strand of warm globe string lights on an overhead wire. In Houston, outdoor living is not seasonal. It is a year-round consideration for anyone who understands the climate. The patio staging tells a buyer that this space is a room, that it has value, that on a February evening when the temperature is 62 degrees and the jasmine 2 doors down is starting to bloom, this is where you will be. Before staging, buyers who came through this property were spending an average of 8 minutes per showing. After staging was installed, the average showing time jumped to 22 minutes. That shift, from 8 to 22 minutes, is not aesthetic. It is economic. Buyers who stay longer form stronger emotional connections to a property. Buyers who form stronger emotional connections are more likely to make offers. And buyers who make offers from a position of emotional investment make stronger offers, at or above asking price, because the alternative, losing this specific house, feels unacceptable to them. The $2,800 staging investment contributed directly to the $6,000 over-ask offer we received. The math is clear. We listed this property on a Thursday. The choice of listing day is deliberate, based on documented pattern analysis of the Houston MLS. Properties listed on Thursday appear at or near the top of new listing notification feeds for buyers who have saved search alerts. Those notifications go out Thursday evening and Friday morning, precisely when buyers are planning their weekend schedules and deciding which properties to tour on Saturday and Sunday. Properties listed on Monday, by contrast, might have already lost their newness by the time the weekend arrives. Houston MLS data shows that Thursday listings generate approximately 34% more first weekend showings than Monday listings. This is a free advantage, available to any seller or investor who knows about it, and it costs nothing beyond the decision to wait the right number of days to list. The listing price was $365,000. 11 showings were scheduled and completed over the first weekend, Saturday and Sunday. By Sunday evening, 3 written offers had been received. The first offer, $358,000, with a 30-day close and a standard financing contingency. A strong offer, $7,000 below asking, from a local buyer pre-approved with a well-regarded Houston lender. The second offer, $362,000, with a 21-day close, cash, no contingencies. A real estate investor who intended to operate the property as a long-term rental. A slightly lower price, but exceptional terms. The third offer, $371,000, $6,000 over asking price, with a 25-day close and a conventional financing contingency from a buyer with strong pre-approval documentation. The buyer, a 31-year-old UX designer relocating from San Francisco, who had been actively searching the Houston market for 4 months, had been outbid on 2 other Montrose properties in the preceding 60 days, and who submitted at $6,000 over asking precisely because she had lost the previous 2 properties and was not willing to lose this one. We accepted the third offer. Days on market 6. Final sale price, $371,000. Now let us look at the complete financial picture. Every dollar in, every dollar out, laid out in full. Purchase price, $185,000. Renovation cost, $67,850. Carrying costs across the 19-week project period. Property taxes prorated to our ownership. Homeowner's insurance on a property under renovation. Utilities maintained at a low level for construction access, $4,200. Staging, $2,800. A buyer's agent commission at 3% of the sale price, $11,130. Seller-side closing costs including title insurance, transfer documentation, and attorney fees, $3,200. Total investment, $274,180. Total sale price, $371,000. Net profit, $96,820. Net return on investment, 35.3%. Project duration, 19 weeks from purchase closing to sale closing. We projected $82,000 in net profit when we underwrote this deal before making our offer. We made $96,820, $14,820 more than our projection. That variance came from 3 sources. First, in the hardwood floor discovery, the shift from $13,000 of new flooring to $4,800 of refinishing work saved $8,200 from the renovation budget. Second, the over-ask offer, the final sale price of $371,000 versus our projected $365,000 added $6,000 to the top line. Third, the project completing $150 under budget. The market did not give us this result. The preparation gave us this result. The local contractor relationships that produced accurate renovation cost estimates, not the inflated $120,000 estimates that scared off the competition. The decision to preserve the historical character, rather than overwrite it with generic renovation choices. The terracotta tile discovery and the creativity to use it in the right place. The Thursday listing, the staging investment, with the specific and detailed understanding of what Montrose buyers pay for and what they do not. 3 competing offers on a property that sat on the MLS for 45 days with 0 offers before we bought it. That transformation, from 0 interest to competing offers, is the entire business model. Find the house that others cannot see clearly. See it clearly yourself. Execute with precision. Deliver something the market wants to pay for. The San Francisco buyer, who paid $371,000 for this property, paid $6,000 over asking in a market where she had recently lost 2 other offers. She paid it because she had been to enough Houston showings to know that a Spanish Colonial bungalow in Inner Montrose with original hardwood floors and a fully renovated kitchen and a master bathroom with a terracotta niche at this price point was not going to come back to market. She was right. It will not. As of the first quarter of 2026, there are 8 distressed properties in Montrose, listed under $220,000. 8. In a neighborhood where the renovated market is $340,000 to $380,000 for comparable square footage. 8 properties representing the same opportunity this property represented 6 months ago, priced below the distressed market average. When sitting on the MLS with 0 offers, because the buyers who are looking at them cannot see what they actually are. The window exists, it is narrowing, but it exists. 5 lessons from this specific project in this specific market. Not generic advice about house flipping. Specific, actionable, directly derived from what we learned on this bungalow on this street in Montrose. 1. In Montrose, the kitchen wall is always worth removing. Every closed-concept bungalow in this neighborhood has an underperforming kitchen, and the buyers who are moving into Montrose in 2026 will not compromise on open-concept living. The structural work to remove that wall costs between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on the beam span required and the permit scope. The value added by the resulting open-concept kitchen and living room, in perceived space, in buyer desirability, in final sale price, is consistently in the range of $20,000 to $35,000 in this market. The return ratio on this single decision is between 6-to-1 and 10-to-1. There is no other renovation decision in a Montrose bungalow with comparable leverage. Identify the wall, remove the wall, every time. 2. Check for original hardwood floors under the carpet before you price your renovation. The method is simple. Go to the master bedroom closet, lift the carpet at the corner, look at the subfloor. It takes 10 seconds and it costs nothing. On this project, that 10-second action saved $8,200 from the renovation budget and produced a finished floor that is better than any alternative we could have installed. In Houston bungalows built before 1960, and Montrose has hundreds of them, the probability of finding original hardwood under the carpet is high. Factor it into your underwriting as a possible upside and confirm it on your inspection walkthrough before you make an offer. 3. Preserve the historical character because it is the scarcity premium. The terracotta mosaic in the shower niche cost nothing in materials. The refinished original built-in closets cost the same as new closet systems would have cost. The restored original windows cost less than replacement windows. And these 3 elements, the terracotta niche, the built-in closets, the original windows, were the first things every buyer mentioned during showings. Not the quartz countertops, and not the frameless glass shower, not the Samsung appliances. The things that were original to the house, preserved and honored rather than replaced, were what made this renovation memorable. In a market full of generic flips with the same gray LVP and white subway tile and matte black hardware, the house with the original hardwood floors and the terracotta tile from under the kitchen floor and the 1948 closets painted white and made beautiful is the house that gets competing offers. 4. List on Thursday, not Monday. The Houston MLS data is clear and consistent. Thursday listings generate approximately 34% more first weekend showings than Monday listings. This is a free advantage. It requires nothing more than the decision to wait for the right day. Talk to your agent before the listing goes live. Choose the date intentionally. The additional showings generated by a Thursday listing translate directly into higher offer volume and, in a competitive showing weekend, into multiple offers and above-ask pricing. This specific decision contributed materially to the outcome of this project. 5. The mistake to avoid: do not over-renovate for the price point. 2 blocks from this property, a fellow investor installed a $45,000 kitchen, custom cabinetry, high-end integrated appliances, imported stone countertops, in a bungalow that the market ceiling for that block would not support above $380,000. The renovation cost was so high that the margins were destroyed, and the property sat on the market for 47 days before finally closing below. Asking price with the investor's profit effectively eliminated by the premium kitchen, the market did not value proportionally. In Montrose, at the price point of $350,000 to $400,000, $20,000 to $24,000 is the correct kitchen investment range. Know the ceiling of your specific block before you decide how to spend. The ceiling is set by comparable sales, not by your renovation ambition. 12 years. That is how long this house waited for someone to see what it could be. It was not waiting for $1 million budget. It was not waiting for a perfect interest rate environment, or a housing market correction, or some future moment when the circumstances would be more favorable. It was sitting on a tree-lined street in one of the most interesting neighborhoods in the fourth largest city in the United States, behind a rusted porch railing and an overgrown bougainvillea that had grown across the front of the house until the arch. The beautiful, hand-built, to irreplaceable Spanish Colonial arch that had been there since 1948 was invisible from the street. Invisible because no one had cut back the plant, because no one had patched the stucco or opened the windows or refinished the floors or pulled down the wall between the kitchen and the living room. Because the owner who could have done those things did not for 12 years, and then listed the property and found 42 showings and 0 offers, because the buyers who walked through could see only what was there and not what was underneath. We stopped the car. We lifted the carpet corner in the closet. We confirmed the hardwood. We counted the comparable renovated sales within 6 blocks. We talked to our contractor. We made our offer. We paid $185,000, and we came back 19 weeks later, and we walked out with $96,820 in net profit and a house that sold in 6 days to a buyer who had been searching for 4 months and who knew immediately, was standing in the living room, looking through the open concept into the kitchen with the morning light coming through the window above the sink, that she was not leaving. $185,000, one plan, 19 weeks, $96,820. That is the story of one house, on one street, in one neighborhood of one city, in a country that has thousands of neighborhoods exactly like it. Neighborhoods in transition, streets with a mix of the renovated and the waiting, and distressed properties sitting on the MLS with 0 offers because the buyers who walked through them could not see past the carpet and the kitchen wall and the painted shut windows to the original hardwood floors and the arched doorways and the 80-year-old bones underneath. Maybe the next one is in Houston. Maybe it is in Nashville or Tampa or Savannah or Chicago or a city you already know and have driven through 100 times without stopping. The formula does not change. The neighborhood changes. The architecture changes. The price point adjusts to the market. But the core of it, finding a house with exceptional bones in a neighborhood with genuine demand, executing a precise and character-respecting renovation, and delivering something that the market wants to pay for, that is always the same. This is Flip House Dreams. Next week, we take this same formula to a different Texas city, a different architectural style, a neighborhood that very few people outside of Texas have ever heard of, but that the numbers say is one of the most compelling flip markets in the entire country right now. A market where the purchase prices are lower, the renovation costs are proportionally smaller, and the gap between distressed and renovated is even wider than what we just showed you in Montrose. Subscribe. You do not want to miss what